Hello, my name is Sangwa Emmanuel. I want to show how to use the system of Rubavu Port management system. So let's get started. What is the functionality of the system and what are the goals of the system? The system is designed to facilitate the management of port operations at Rubavu Port. So that is located in Rwanda, specifically for cargo movement among vessels and trucks and cargo storage. The system's primary objectives is to monitor these activities effectively and manage periodic revenue reports. Yeah, so that's the goal of designing this system. So to understand very well, so let's start by looking at the Rubavu Port environment structure by the map. I tried to pull the map from our Google map and try to see how it is structured. So this port, as most of the ports, it must have a sea or lake side. So here we have Lake Kivu in Rwanda. So this is the lake side from which the vessel come to load or to offload the cargo. So here on the right side, we can see that we have some vessels waiting maybe to load the cargo or coming to offload the cargo. Here also you can see that we have the warehouse that can store the cargo. And if I try to zoom, we have also the truck that can come to bring or to take the cargo from the port. I also have another picture that shows a little bit clear how the warehouse looks. This is the warehouse, and now this is the lake. And also here is a building for administration. But the most important part I want to show here is the lake and the warehouse now with the trucks, because the cargo mostly move from warehouse, vessel, and truck. Now we're going to see the requirements of the system in detail by looking at these requirements. The introduction is that what we have seen earlier. Now we can see other modules. The main modules are these ones. So we have berthing and get, ops, other payments, and dashboard, user module, auditing, reporting, and module. Now we're going to see in detail what each module shows. Looking at the berthing module, we have the vessel, and this is the registration of the vessel. Now, which vessel, what are the, we get some of the information like name of the vessel, the plate number, and the rural certificate. But this time, the rural certificate is the certificate that shows it's an authorization that the vessel comes with for the first time, that authorizes the vessel to operate at this port. So it's more as a license. Booking. When the vessel comes for the first time, it has to call the Rubavu Port operators to make sure that the Rubavu Port prepares the space here where to park. You can see that this space is limited. So if the vessel comes without booking, it gets hard for the port operators to manage this space. So usually here at the port, there are 12 eco spaces which are called bollards. So in those bollards is where the vessel comes to be attached to. And then when this side is full of the vessels, one vessel can park alongside another vessel here. As you can see that this vessel came first, or maybe let's see this small boat, and this came and then another came, and one has parked alongside another vessel. So this booking helps the port operator to manage how these vessels are going to be parked or to be berthed here on this space. And the most important data here is to know when it is going to come. This ATA is actual time of arrival. ETD is the estimated time of departure. But the other information we shall see when we start using the system. The berthing module is when the vessel physically comes at the port. Now the port operator has to confirm that the vessel has come and the information now registered in the booking are almost the same as what is registered in the berthing. They also now confirm the ATA, the actual time of arrival, or estimated time of departure. But this time it's from this level that the system starts calculating how long it has stayed at the port. Now, invoicing part is when the vessel is invoiced for how long it has stayed at the port, but also we shall see all the charges that are incurred by the vessel when it stays at the port, but we keep some information like amount and date and other information. For the receipting or payment, we register the confirmation of this invoice. So this is when the invoice and receipt is when the vessel is about to leave. So it has to leave only when it has been receipted, and we shall see the types of charges that are paid by the vessel. And then this is to confirm the invoicing. So we register some information like amount or date. And also we have the last one, which is unberthing. Unberthing is when the vessel leaves the port. Now this is the final process of the vessel. When it leaves, we also make sure when it has left. Now, one important note here is to know that the system has to keep information on when it has arrived on this third process and when it has left, because by keeping this information, that's when the system can calculate how long it has stayed. So in other words, when the vessel leaves the port here, it has to calculate when it has been berthed, and then it calculates number of days, and then from those number of days it has to calculate how much to pay. Gate module. If you look at the map one more time, we have land side. This land side is for trucks. The trucks comes from here coming to the port, and when it comes, it passes through the gate. Here is the gate. This picture is drawn from satellite, so it may not be the most recent based on how the port looks like, but the idea is that this truck comes from the gate around here, and then when it comes here, there is a special module for that to manage how long it has stayed at the port, and then that module manages how much to pay based on how long it has stayed. So the gate module, we have to register some information based grouped into 4 parts. One is truck entry. The system has to first know when it has entered the port, and we know it has to keep the date. The date is the most important part of this process. Now, invoicing is when the truck is about to leave. In all processes, invoicing and receipting are the processes that are done when the truck is about to leave. For example, the truck has come, it has stayed for 2 days. Then after 2 days, they have to invoice the parking at the port. Let me go back a little bit. Also, the truck exit is when the system now has to know when how long it has stayed by taking the time it is exiting minus the time that it has entered. Now we shall see exactly how the tariff is made, but for now these are the submodules of the gate module. Now let's move to the last module. This is not the last, but it's among the main is the last module, major modules. It has 4 parts. So this one calculates the cargo related activities, which are the transshipment and storage. Now let me first explain what is transshipment and what is involved in the transshipment. The transshipment is the movement that the cargo can move from vessel to truck or from truck to vessel. That's what it is called, transshipment. Then storage is the activity of keeping the cargo in the warehouse, and also that is managed under this module. Then those two operations are invoiced. The transshipment is based on kilograms, and the storage is charged based on how long the cargo has stayed in the warehouse. If you have seen the picture, the warehouse is this one, and clearly this is the warehouse. It can store some cargo for some time. So based on how long the cargo has stayed in the warehouse, it has the client has to pay. The client has to pay based on the duration of how long the cargo has stayed. So those two activities are invoiced and receipted. In the same process, these ones are done when the payer is going to leave the port. So this one is paid by the cargo owner. Another thing to mention in the previous module, this one is paid by the driver. But also sometimes most of the times the payer is mentioned at the document that is brought by the cargo owner. Now the exit now is when the truck is leaving the port. So from here, it's to close the process of operations. Now, to clearly see the transshipment activities in storage, this diagram shows the three parts: truck, vessel, and warehouse. The cargo can move from truck to truck, which is the first part here. It can move from truck to truck. It can move from truck to vessel or truck to warehouse. In this, also the vessel can move from vessel to truck. Sorry, the cargo can move from vessel to truck, or it can move from vessel to vessel or vessel to warehouse. But since we have one warehouse, the cargo only can move from warehouse to truck or vessel, so it cannot move from warehouse to another warehouse because we only have one warehouse. So this diagram shows the transshipment and storage. So transshipments are these four blocks. The movement which is done in these four blocks, and the storage is in this pink color. So this is the transshipment or warehouse. Also, the transshipment is called handling. Now we're going to see the source of revenues, because one major part of the warehouse, as we have seen in introduction, is to manage the cargo movement in terms of kilograms, but also how much was collected in those in different activities, which are cargo handling, which are the berthing, which are the wharfage. So we're going to see different sources of revenue. So the sources are divided into 5 parts. The vessels, they pay 2 types of charges. One is berthing, another is wharfage. When you start by the berthing, when the vessel comes to the port, initially it pays wharfage. The type of charge that it pays is called wharfage. Wharfage is one-time fee that the vessel pays when it reaches the port. So what is exactly wharfage? Wharfage is an activity of attaching the vessel to the quay. The quay is this side of the port, this edge of the land where the vessel is attached to. So that activity involves the manpower, and they have to attach this vessel to the ground. So this is what we call wharfage, and it has to pay one-time fee. So this is the second part. This is the second part. This is the second part, wharfage. It's one-time fee. Then the berthing. The berthing is when it stayed every night. Every night is charged one charge called berthing. Every night it pays a certain amount. So during the time in which the vessel has stayed at the port, the vessel pays every night the berthing, but it also pays one-time charge called wharfage. Another type of charging is the truck parking. This is when the truck comes and stays at the port. So as we have said that it can stay for some time, it also pays based on how long it has stayed at the port. Then the last part is divided into two, is when the cargo has been handled. This involves the activity of loading the cargo to warehouse or from those three parts. So those activities are those activities are called handling. When the offloading and loading the cargo is called handling, it's also another type of charge. And also we have cargo storage. Cargo storage, as we have explained, is when the cargo stays in the warehouse. Then based on how long, we charge based on how long it has stayed in the warehouse. So this is the summary of the tariff. The vessel berthing is berthing and wharfage, two types of charges. Truck parking is parking, but it is based on 12-hour block. So what does this mean? It means that when a truck comes at the port and stays for 12 hours, it pays a certain amount, fixed amount. When it exceeds 12 hours, it also pays another block. So that block is another amount. So if it has 5 12-hour blocks, it has one fixed charge times 5 times. Then we have cargo handling, that we have said that it's loading, offloading the cargo to those 3 destinations. Cargo storage is the duration of the cargo, the duration of the cargo that has stayed in the warehouse. Now, what are the amount and what is the more details about the tariff of the vessel? Because we have a limited space at the port here, we cannot. There must be a certain measure to make sure that the port are well aligned, and because we have a limited space, we have to make sure that the longer vessels pays more. Like the vessels that are less than 60 meters, berthing or wharfage, these are the tariff 28 and 210,000. But for the vessels that are longer than 60 meters, they pay more. Why? Because when they are longer, we run out of space at the port. So that's the idea behind of different amount paid by the vessels based on their length. So this is also managed by the system. The system gives a way to mention the length of the vessel, and then it helps you calculate based on the length and also the type of charge. Now, there is some grace period of the vessel. When the vessel stays for 3 days only, it does not pay. So that is grace period for the vessel. When it stays more than 3 days, it pays 28,000 Rwandan francs every night. And this, as we have explained, when it comes, it pays this amount one time. This is quite the same. The difference is that when it's longer than 60, it pays more than when it is less than 60 meters. But the same idea applies here. When it stays for only 3 days, it does not pay any amount. So This is the charges details about the vessel. Also, we're going to see another tariff. Now, this is the truck parking tariff. Under this module, we have also included one sub-module called wooden boats. When we designed the system, we didn't design the wooden boat because the project was quite new, but we realized that it's quite the same. So even the amount was decided to be the same as the truck parking. So under this truck parking, we also have wooden boats. It's not like wooden boats is truck, but we have put them together because they pay the same amount, and we did not want to include another module because we only wanted it to differentiate the trucks and wooden boats. So as we have explained, when a truck stays for 12 hours, it pays 5,000 Rwandan francs. But also, if, for example, if it stays for 12 and 1 second, that's 2 12-hour blocks. So every second, every minute, prior to 12-hour block, it is an extra 12-hour block. Another example is that when it stays for 24 hours and 3 minutes, those are 3 12-hour blocks. So I think it's clear for the truck parking. And also one thing we can mention here is the pair. The pair can be done by the owner of the cargo, but mostly it is expected to be done by the driver. Handling charges. This is the movement, the activity of how the cargo has moved. It can move from those 3 destinations we mentioned: truck, warehouse, or vessel. Now, it also has 2 types of charges. When the cargo comes from abroad to Rwanda, that is charged, the tariff is fixed to 2. When the cargo comes from Rwanda to abroad, the charge is fixed to 0.4. So the whole formula is to take the total kilograms times the tariff type. So tariff type is either 2 or 0.4. So this is the handling charges. Now let's see, when the cargo has been stored in the warehouse and stayed for some time, when it's going to be exited out of the warehouse, now the system uses these 3 options. One option, if it has stayed for less than 14 days, that is grace period. It does not pay anything. When it stays for 16 days up to 30 days, the formula is this one. The amount to pay is total number of days, here is 15 days, times the weight of the cargo times 0.6. And when it has stayed for more than 31 days, it pays also the amount which are equal to number of days times the weight of the cargo times 1.2. Also here, the person to pay this is the cargo owner. Yeah, so thank you for this presentation. This is to have a clear look at how the business works. There's some concept of how the business works, and there's also the structure of Rubavu Port environment structure, and also there's some a clear picture of how the system calculates the revenue. So we're going to continue with the user interface of how to use the system. And thank you for watching this. We shall see in the next one.